challenges are par for the course, right? Anything you do that you don't have challenges, is not worth doing. So the thing is to identify those challenges, to identify why those challenges exist and what should be done.
You can't do it alone. You need to work within other agencies with mandates that are critical to the kind of work that we do.
Nigeria, like many nations, continues to grapple with the scourge of corruption. Despite significant progress, corruption remains a pressing challenge, cutting across every facet of our society. From public offices to private transactions, shoddy deals and embezzlement of government funds still occur. But hope is not lost. In this edition of Transparency Files, we shine a light on successful anti-corruption initiatives that are making a difference. From the Treasury Single Account TSA to the Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System IPS, Open Government Partnership OGP, Whistleblower Policy of 2016 and Biometric Verification Number BVN. These reforms are changing the narrative. How far have we come and what more needs to be done? Stay with us as we explore these questions. Welcome to Transparency Files, ICPC's Public Enlightenment Program. I am Hawasani Garba, your anchor. It's great to have you join us. Standing by with more on anti-corruption efforts is Joy Aja. Over to you, Joy.
Hello viewers, thank you for staying with us. My name is Joy Aja with Anti-Corruption Stories. The chairman of ICPC, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliyu SAN, has affirmed that the Memorandum of Understanding signed between the Commission and the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare will guarantee the efficient and transparent use of resources allocated for the well-being of Nigerians. Dr. Aliyu made this known during the formal signing of the MOU titled Implementation of Preventive Corruption Measures in Nigeria's Health Sector, held recently in Abuja. Speaking at the event, Dr. Aliyu explained that the agreement was designed to alleviate the healthcare burdens faced by vulnerable groups in Nigeria.
This MOU is a good step for us to try to see how we can strengthen the issue of accountability and transparency, and also to help Mr. President in his agenda, ensuring that the new resources that is channeled in the health sector are used judiciously, and also ICPC use it mandates of prevention to ensure that we don't allow the things which we don't want to happen. So if such thing occur, then we need to look at how to investigate and also to recover where there are things that we can recover, and also where there is need for a sanction, we move in, because the National Anti-Corruption Strategy, which is in place now, it already has 5 pillars, which is around all this, and also the issue of collaboration. This one, the area whereby we are now coming together.
Also speaking at the event, the Honorable Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, CON, reiterated the ministry's commitment to the objectives of the MOU in combating corruption within the health sector. The minister commended the efforts of the Joint Task Force established in collaboration with ICPC, describing the MOU as evidence of its positive impact.
We committed that we will work with you and other agencies like yours to ensure that we strengthen the institutional capacities to preempt, to prevent, to disintensitivize things that will undermine the ability of public finances to deliver what is needed for the Nigerian people. We have worked through the joint committee that we set up with you to develop the MOU, which has gone through several rounds of review between yourselves and our own team here. So that's what we're here for.
ICPC has arraigned Mr. Abubakar Muhammad Aseku, an Assistant Superintendent of Immigration with the Nigerian Immigration Service, for allegedly drawing salaries from 2 additional government agencies while still employed by the immigration. Mr. Iseku appeared before Justice Binta Dogoyaro of the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Apo, Abuja, on a 9-count charge bordering on abuse of office and corruption. According to ICPC, the defendant allegedly received 4.2 million naira in salaries from the Nasarawa State Ministry of Education, Science and Technology in 2015 while working as a school teacher, despite being on active duty with the NIS. He is further accused of drawing 13.4 million naira in salaries from the Department of Petroleum Resources (DPR) between 2018 and 2019 while employed by the Immigration Service. In addition, Mr. Sheku, as a pay officer with the NIS, allegedly facilitated the payment of 4.7 million naira in salaries to 7 individuals who were neither employees of the NIS nor on its payroll. Mr. Sheku pleaded not guilty to all the charges. His counsel, Mr. Basil Hemba, informed the court that his client had previously been granted bail by another FCT High Court sitting in Maitama and urged the court to maintain the existing bail terms. Justice Dogoyaro upheld the bail conditions which had been granted by the Maitama court. ICPC counsel, Mr. Michael Adeshola, requested an adjournment to allow the prosecution to present its witnesses. The presiding judge adjourned the case to April 29 for further hearing on the matter. That will be all on this segment. Transparency Files continues with Hawa. Please stay with us.
Cynthia, wahala deal. Kasala don't boast for accounts department.
What's wrong?
Some funds are missing and we have no idea how to trace the problem.
That's terrible. What can we do about it?
That is why I came to you. As the chairman of the Anti-Corruption and Transparency Unit in this office, we need ACT2 to assist us with preliminary investigations so we can fish the culprit out.
Okay then, I will call a meeting of the ACT2 and we shall look into it. Musa, how could you? You're diverting funds into ghost accounts. Have you forgotten that an ACT2 exists in this ministry? It was only going to be a matter of time before you were found out.
Madam Cynthia, I did not have any choice. The pressure on me was too much. I had to pay my children's school fees and my rent was due.
That doesn't justify stealing. We have policies in place to help you in times of need. But what you have done is a breach of the organization's code of ethics and the public service rule. In fact, it's a criminal act, and both the disciplinary committee and ICPC will have to be informed.
Please, let's keep this within ourselves. No need to tell the ICPC.
I'm afraid we have to do the right thing.
Well done, Cynthia. You and your team have done a great job. You have justified the importance of ACT2 in any organization. This report will be forwarded to the ICPC.
This message is brought to you by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission.
Thank you, Joy. In the fight against corruption, the role of citizens cannot be overstated. A nation's progress depends on its people embracing values like honesty, diligence, and integrity. These are the hallmarks of national development. The introduction of initiatives like IPs, TSA, and OGP has been instrumental in eliminating ghost workers, tracking fraudulent transactions, promoting transparency, and encouraging citizens to report corruption anonymously. ICPC has also spearheaded several anti-corruption initiatives, including the establishment of anti-corruption and transparency units, ACT2s, in ministries, departments, and agencies. The National Anti-Corruption Coalition, NACC. The Ethics and Integrity Compliance Scorecard, EICS. The Anti-Corruption Vanguard and NYC CDS groups. The National Ethics and Integrity Policy, NEIP. Model anti-sexual harassment policies for educational institutions, and anti-corruption clubs in secondary schools across Nigeria. These initiatives have been crucial in fostering accountability and ethical leadership. Transparency File spoke with an anti-corruption advocate and former executive director, Neiti, Waziri Adu, and ICPC's spokesperson, Debola Bakari. They shed light on the impact and lessons from these initiatives.
There are no other fast rules on what will make a particular initiative successful. Depends on the sector. It also depends on the mandate of the institution involved and the scope of the anti-corruption initiative. People usually talk about 3 S's of anti-corruption or 4 S's of anti-corruption. And that means that we need to adopt a holistic approach and not just be stuck with one approach. I'm sure ICPC also, you guys are not just stuck with one. You also use the multiplicity of approach to achieve your mandate. So the first one, which comes naturally to most people, is sanctions. You need to ensure that there are sanctions for bad behavior, that the rules are clear about what is not allowed. Where I come from, they say where there's no offense. Right? So the first thing you want to establish is that these are the lines that you should not cross. And when you cross those lines, there will be sanctions, and those sanctions will be commensurate with the infractions and also serve as a disincentive for people to continue to perpetrate bad behavior. The other part is what they call systems. These are the things we put in place to make it difficult for people to be corrupt or to undertake corrupt practices in the first instance, right? Because you can't possibly, even with the best of sanction systems, sanction regime, you can't possibly apprehend and convict everybody, right? So you stand a better chance when you put systems in place to limit the occurrence or the preponderance of bad behavior. So the third part, which is also a good segue, is what they call society. Right. So if you live in a society where people think corruption is okay, people think where you walk is where you eat. When people have expressions like where a goat is tied is where he eats from, where you walk is where you chop from, right? Where people believe that, when is your turn, you take care of yourself and people close to you. So when the society itself is not convinced, or they have some norms and practices that encourage corrupt practices, there's a lot of work to be done there. And what they usually say in the anti-corruption space is that you need an all-of-society approach. So it's not just for the anti-corruption agencies, it's not just for the government or the president, it's not just for the legislators to make the laws. You need the society to believe that this is something we all need to fight together because it affects all of us. The fourth part, which some other people also say is very important, and I agree with them, is that you can have the sanctions in place, you can have the systems in place, you can have social mobilization and society invested in all of these things. But you also need a strategy. You need to have an overall strategy. So it's not just that people are just doing whatever they like and they are expecting that things will fall in place. Or you have, so there should be an overarching strategy and a well coordinated and well implemented and well monitored one to ensure that you will be able to achieve. So you have all kind of challenges across the value chain, whether you are looking at the laws, whether you are looking at the sanction system, whether you are looking at social mobilization, whether you are even looking at having a coherent strategy. And that's why it's very important at every point in time we should be doing stock takes, step back, and say, where are we? What are we doing well? What are the challenges? What can we do better? What more can we do? My own conclusion is that Challenges are par for the course, right? Anything you do that you don't have challenges, is not worth doing. So the thing is to identify those challenges, to identify why those challenges exist and what should be done. And our own conviction is that we actually need more of those measures. We need to sustain the ones that we already have. We need to, address some of the gaps that exist, and we need to make sure that we keep the fight against corruption.
We have very robust community engagement initiatives, and you can highlight various initiatives even under that, because we have the usual public enlightenment, reaching out to members of the public through this media and now the social media. You have the normal education where you meet with Nigerians, with the members of the public physically, through outreaches and so on and so forth, like that. And you have one that is tied to another initiative of the Commission. That initiative has to do with the national ethics and integrity policy adopted by the federal government of Nigeria. And that one, is all about reorientating the ethics and the mindset of average Nigerian in order to be able to do the right thing, in order to have the right country that we all dream of. Another initiative that readily comes to mind is the preventive initiatives. Number one, the topmost one, there is the system study and review strategy, as well as the corruption risk assessment initiatives. And we have conducted a whole lot of that. CRA in the port sector, that is CRA is corruption risk assessment, in the port sector, in the aviation sector, in the water resources, in health sector, and in a whole lot. And recently, again in the health sector, and that one has landed the Federal Ministry of Health and the ICPC to sign a memorandum of understanding. The another initiative that readily comes to mind, it's tied to our prevention mandate too, is the ethics and integrity compliance scorecard. That one is about ranking MDAs on their compliance to policies, programs and laws of the public service, whether they are complying, whether they are not complying, and you have like 2, 3, 4 rating scale: non-compliant, partial compliance, compliance, and so on and so forth. One major initiative that has given us pew is the one that we call SEPTI in-house. That is Constituency and Executive Project Tracking Initiative. Government spends a whole lot of money on projects, capital budget, in order to bring governance down to members of the public. And ICPC now developed a program, a system whereby those projects are tracked for execution and for quality. And when we found that they are not being implemented to standard, we intervene and make contractors handling such projects to return to site, so that they will meet the standard that is clearly stated now. And of course, one that we roll every of these initiatives together is our collaboration and partnership initiatives. You can't do it alone. You need to work within other agencies with mandates that are critical to the kind of work that we do. If you want to use technology, for instance, to fight corruption, now you need to collaborate with agencies like NIDA, need to collaborate with agencies like NCC. I mean, those are the government agencies that know how with regards to technology, and you begin to work with them so that they can use their know-how to assist us to do our work more efficiently, more smartly.
Before we draw the curtain on today's edition, let's take a quick trip around the country for reports from our state offices. Khadija Ibrahim is our guide.
From Owerri comes a report that Mrs. Chinwe Egbeocha of Public Enlightenment and Education Department has sensitized the public on the dangers of corruption and its far-reaching consequences at the recently organized public sensitization program at the National Museums and Monuments of Imo State. She emphasized the Commission's ongoing efforts to combat corrupt practices and urged citizens to actively support the fight against corruption. The curator of the Imo State Museum, Mrs. Nancy Ekpe, pledged the agency's commitment to combating corruption within and outside the organization. Coming from Sokoto State, the resident anti-corruption commissioner, Mr. Shintema Binga, has emphasized the need for the Nigerian Customs Services to create platforms for sensitization and capacity building, ensuring anti-corruption values are embedded within its structures. He made this call while receiving a delegation from the Nigerian Customs Service, Sokoto and Zamfara State Command, led by the Area Controller, Controller U.M. Abdul Qadir, to call for a deeper synergy between the two agencies to uphold transparency and integrity in their operations. From our Lagos State Office, Mrs. Mary Omonoyon has called on students of Tombi Royal School to imbibe integrity and ethical values as they grow into future leaders. She emphasized the importance of making ethical decisions despite societal pressures and held that integrity builds trust, confidence, and long-term success. The proprietress of the school, Mrs. Fumilayo Olafisoye, pledged to work hand-in-hand with the ICPC to ensure that the students grow into honest and responsible individuals. And from Kano State, the resident anti-corruption commissioner, Barrister Ahmed Mohammed Wada, led a team to pay a courtesy visit to the Customs Area Controller of Kano and Jigawa State Command, Controller Delhatu Abubakar, to partner with the Nigerian Customs Service to prevent illicit financial flows and other corrupt activities in the state. On his part, Controller Delhatu Abubakar commended ICPC's efforts in the war against corruption and pledged his readiness to partner with the Commission to curb the menace in the states.
Nigeria and the ICPC have made remarkable strides in tackling corruption, but the journey is far from over. Sustained efforts and continuous reforms are essential for lasting change. We all have a role to play: civil society, the media, international partners, and most importantly, you. Let's join hands to become sincere agents of change, embrace integrity, and act against corruption. That's our package for this edition of Transparency Files. To learn more about ICPC's initiatives and how you can contribute to the fight against corruption, visit our website at www.icpc.gov.ng. Until next time, I am Hawasani Garba saying bye for now.